touch on Tennessee. What was it like, just that, being in it, and now having the perspective of being able to look back on that? Those were special, special times.
Yeah, I mean, you said it. Special times. Those games, they transcended the sport. That rivalry transcended the sport. Whether you were a women's basketball fan or not, it didn't matter. You were going to tune into that game. You knew about the rivalry. You know, you knew about the teams and their previous success. You knew about the coaches and how they didn't necessarily like each other. There was a lot of storyline. But we joked that they didn't like each other. Obviously, the respect was there, but that's what led to the storyline. It led to the hype of the game, and I feel really fortunate that I got to play in those games. In fact, my junior and my senior year, we played a home and away. So you played a home and away against a non-conference team. And then I don't remember what year, but at some point ESPN had us right before the Duke-UNC men's game in rivalry week. So this is like putting women's college basketball on the map at that time. It's like I can only imagine the NIL money that we would have had. Oh my God.
Seriously.
Yeah, and then simultaneously, I get a little sad, Obviously, the series ended. Obviously I've been teammates with Morgan, teammates with Stewie for the last however long, 5-6 years. It doesn't even resonate with them. And I don't actually hate Tennessee. What happens? Okay, so
break it down.
What happens when you graduate and you go to the WNBA is someone from Notre Dame or Tennessee is going to be on your team, and over time it just loses the hatred. Just kind of, we talk a little trash, maybe we make a friendly wager on the game, but for the most part it kind of dies down. But it's still a little bit. You're still like, you kind of look at them sideways, like side eye them.
Yeah, so watch what you say, okay?
Yeah. No, I don't feel that. We beat you
guys. See, that's how I feel
times.
about Notre Dame.
Yeah,
I feel the same way about Notre Dame.
So my Tennessee is their Notre Dame.
Yeah.
So in some ways, again, just back to the historical context of it all, in some ways it makes me sad that rivalry had to take its little hiatus. But it's great that it's back. It's just it doesn't quite have the same yet. Hopefully it'll get there.
And you mentioned your Tennessee is Notre Dame.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Talk to me about what you remember from playing in those games.
I think where it really hit me in my freshman year, that's when we lost to Notre Dame 3 times in a year. We were in the Big East, and we lost twice in regular season. I think one was like a 3-overtime, 4-overtime game at Notre Dame. And then we lost like on a buzzer beater layup in the Big East Championship, the conference tournament. But then we beat him in the national championship, so it made us feel really good about that. But it did, I think, similar to Sue, it's like you have this like feeling of like kind of hating Notre Dame and like their players, and then when you get in the league and then you see them all the time, so they kind of become your friends, so it does die down over time.
Okay, but on site when you see them and they're your teammate, what does that feel like? Oh, her.
Maybe at the beginning, but now it's like they're my friends. I love them.
So Ashley Robinson played for Tennessee. She's a couple years younger than me. She was a long-time WNBA teammate of mine with the Storm. And anytime they would do starting lineups and there was a Tennessee player for the other team, she would just be like they'd be like, starting for I can't even think of a player right now. Name a Tennessee player. Candace Parker, starting for the LA Sparks, number 3, Candace Parker. She would just kind of like subtly go balls. Every time. And every time she did it, I would just be like,
Really?
Really? Go balls.
I want to hear your memories. I want to hear you talking about Tennessee, the face of Notre Dame. What stands out about those rivalries for you?
I think what they said about it's fascinating when you play teams that they know that they're good enough, and you know that they're good enough.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes you play the absolute best that whatever you have inside of you, you find it for those games. They were always memorable because they have great players. We had great players. There was probably more future Hall of Famers in those games than any other games. One year we played Notre Dame in the national championship game, and both teams were undefeated for the season. It's the first time that ever happened. When we played Tennessee, every game that we played against Tennessee was either in the NCAA tournament, which means you lose, you're done, or one of us was number one in the country. Right? We never played them. It was like they're 3 and we're 6, or we're 2 and they're 5. One of us was always number one in the country, and it was a huge game for everybody. And you remember the players, how good they were, and how hard you had to play, and how well you had to play. And you remember some memorable plays that everybody made in those games. All the way back to the Tennessee game at Gamble in 1995, and then the championship game. Jen got that rebound. That was luck. The ball happens to come to her, and she gets the breakaway layup that puts us up, and we win the game. Or some Notre Dame games. I remember, Morgan was saying they beat us 3 times that year. I remember every single play that happened the last 5 minutes of those games.
Really?
And if those players were here that were directly responsible for those plays, I would tell you exactly who they are and what they did to cost us those 3 games. But they're burned into your memory, those games. There was a special intensity about them that you can't replicate with anybody else. And I don't play in the WNBA. So I don't have to like any of them.